Today is Saturday, April 9th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 42 Week 5.
We do 2 shows a week. We got a recap on Wednesdays and then the listener feedback show on Saturday. It's where we turn it over to the other super fans and get their take on what we've just seen and their thoughts and predictions on what might be coming next. It is a very blustery day here in Northern California.
Sure is.
And you may hear wind chimes. I don't know if that's going to come through or not, but definitely that's also unfortunately a red flag day for us, meaning there's a fire chance because it's dry. It's
no
hot
fire,
and dry.
No fires.
We've already been up into the high 80s in terms of temperature, so...
I didn't know you were going to give it. Actually, we've been in the 90s, babe.
It already went into the 90s, okay.
Uh-huh.
So dry and windy, those are not good circumstances. But the wind tends to, well, it makes the pollen really bad for you. But fortunately, your voice is doing all right now.
Right now, yeah.
But sometimes we get the wind chimes that we have out there on the patio. You'll hear them sound off if they get to twirling around.
All right. Well, thank you for the weather update here in sunny California. How about we hear from Pete?
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Now, tonight's episode was an awesome episode, man. Jam-packed. Even though I cannot stand the Beware advantage, I was glad it finally came about and it's over with. Now I'm going to let out a great, big woo! And I'm going to say this in the words of the great Hollywood actor, formerly of WWE, The Rock. I'm going to say this. Finally, Daniel Skunk has been eliminated from Survivor Season 42. Ha ha ha. Oh, that was delicious, man. He had it coming. I was so glad that green team won. And kudos to Hi and Lydia and even Mike for making it happen there. I love it. I somewhat thought it was going to be Chanel, the way the edit had it portrayed. But nope, Daniel Skunk, whatever you want to call him, is out the door, and we knew that was happening. Shoulder injury, whatever. He's gone. No jury. And now, guess what, guys? By sitting out, he reminded me of a Sandra, Abby Maria, Willard from Palau, all those ones that constantly would sit out challenges and offered nothing. Glad he's gone. Now, real quick, guys, so I guess we were fooled, guys, with the preview and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It was not Tori, guys, as a lot of people suspected. It was Drea with Romeo that found the Beware advantage with the blue team. Tori had nothing to do with it at all. We only really heard her in the beginning after Tribal there. So that was pretty good, I gotta say. And glad the Beware advantage now is over with. Now we'll see how these idols come about now with Mike, Drea, and who is it, Marianne now? Looks like a merge or, fake merge, or are they going to do the hourglass thing, which I really hope isn't the case. But you know how Probes is. It probably is going to happen. We'll see. But this was an awesome episode, guys. Curious to hear what everyone else thought about Daniel Skunk hitting the showers. Woo!
Whoa. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, in one of Daniel's interviews, I read that he had actually thrown his shoulder out twice. They had to reset it another time. And the reason he said he sat out so many challenges was that he would ask medical if it was okay to compete, because they all get medical checks, individually get medical checks before each challenge. And the doctor had said, well, I don't recommend it. There could be permanent damage, so on and so forth. And so that was what motivated him to sit out of so many things. But I'm with Pete. Happy to see the skunk tootle on down the trail. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Massachusetts calling in with my feedback for episode 5. I thought it was a pretty standard run-of-the-mill Survivor episode. We got our people getting annoyed with each other, Jonathan and Marianne. We all knew that was inevitable. We have our people finding idols. We have our people's horrible social games. When Daniel was, guys, I don't want to scramble. If I could just talk to you all one-on-one. And I was like, yeah, that's not scrambling. That's literally playing the game. That's like the bare minimum you can do. I laughed out loud. I thought that was so comical. I hope Daniel watches this back and just realizes, I don't know if it's the editing or what the deal is, but he just comes off as like such an oaf. Like just so backwards, so off course. So I am not surprised that he got voted out. I, of course, had him going last week, and then I changed it to Tori because I really thought it was going to be her finding the Beware advantage at the last second, not having a vote and screwing herself over and being voted out if Ika lost again, which obviously did not happen. They won the challenge in spades. So yeah, no vote off points, but you know, can't get them every week. But overall, I'm enjoying the season. I like the cast a lot. It seems like we're probably getting relatively close to a merge. I thought they'd maybe do a swap this season because they didn't last season, but doesn't look like it. I think it would have happened by now, but I don't know. Looking forward to what everyone else has to say. I hope everyone is doing well, taking care of themselves, and have a great week. Bye.
Thanks, Christiana. Daniel actually said that he had not watched the last 2 episodes. So I think he's feeling both embarrassment and maybe a little bit of regret for how things went down.
Didn't you tell me he was engaged?
Yeah, he got engaged on, I think it was back on March 28th to a doctor.
Well, good for him. She can keep his shoulder fixed.
Yeah, exactly. Get him repaired up. I don't know. He's got that fragile kind of feel to him in general.
Well, so, then it's good to be married to a doctor
that can fix all those ouchies. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. I thought this week was another solid episode. I'm glad that all the silly Beware advantage phrases were finally said just so we can all move on. I found myself cringing as the Survivor players tried to carefully craft a way of incorporating those phrases into a normal conversation. At least now my USB Drea has an idol, but unfortunately everyone probably knows about it. Speaking of the Beware phrases, I was as confused as a goat on AstroTurf when Mike kept saying that he was just going to wait till the merge and then it would automatically become an idol, because we rewound to the note that was given to them, and it said at the bottom that if they're not found by the merge, then the vote penalty goes away. But wouldn't they technically be found, just not the phrases said? So I'm a bit confused with that. The immunity challenge was really fun. My wife and I cheered and high-fived when Jonathan hit his target, not only because Jonathan's awesome, but because I picked Body to go to Tribal Council. Tribal Council for me was a roller coaster. I made the decision just before the episode that instead of having Daniel as my vote out, so I thought they would just keep him around, I picked Chanel as my vote out, so I thought I was going to get a point, but alas, it wasn't meant to be. But anyway, it was another great episode, and I'm excited for the 2-hour episode next week, and I'm looking forward to everyone's predictions on what they think can happen, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Robert. You made me want to go back and check the letter there that we got to see Mike holding, and it says at the bottom, if all 3 shared idols are not found by the merge, the vote penalty ends and your idol has full power. So just like that.
Yeah, which was different from last season.
Yes, where it lost its power. Next up, we got an email from Jack.
This was another decent episode before the individual game and the merge twist. I can totally understand how Jonathan could be annoyed with Marianne at this point. I do still like her, but I can see how she would be starting to get on people's nerves. I think she may still be around for a bit longer. Daniel has made quite a few mistakes that came into focus in this episode. Not only did he try and go fishing, but he has been sitting out in all of the challenges, and so he didn't really help win any of the immunities or rewards. So it was only a matter of time until he got voted out. I thought for sure it was going to be Tori finding the potato clue, but was surprised to see that it was Drea, not Tori. With all of the phrases now said, that twist has been played better this season than last season. The episode should be great, being 2 hours worth of content. I do see the hourglass twist returning, even though it might be a little different than it was last season. All right, thanks, Jack. Up next, we got a call from Boother.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother calling in. I really liked this last show, especially at the start, where it showed the rifts in each tribe. I also liked how it focused on Romeo. He is such a strategic player. He has to explain the strategy to Roxroy of why they voted Swati out. And he is coaching Drea as she finds her idol and how to play her extra vote if she doesn't have a vote. So Romeo is looking very good. And another thing about Romeo is he likes working with strong women. So I'm curious how he's going to work with Marianne when the merge comes, and with Chanel, another strong woman, and Lindsay. So I think Romeo's going to be in a power position coming into the merge. Now Tori, she's looking to flip out of the Ica tribe as soon as possible. She just can't stand it there anymore. And it appears as if Jonathan is ready to flip out too. He's been driven nuts with the chatter of Marianne and Lindsay. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming almost merge. Not looking forward to the hourglass flip-flop shenanigans, but nonetheless looking forward to a good 2-hour show ahead. Looking forward to what all the other survivors have to say. Bye.
Thanks, Boother. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're getting all that in a little bit of the preview from the next episode. They released that big giant ball. Those 2 balls they have to dig out of the sand are clearly there. It looks like an identical course. So we're definitely headed in that direction. Next up, we got a call from Brad.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Brad from Los Angeles. I haven't called in this season because I was kind of just taken away by season 41, and I kind of knew season 42 was coming. And it's going to be very similar. And I've been listening to everyone's comments, and it's been helping me. But this season, this is the specific moment where I think the show went off the rails last season. And I'm completely worried that that's about to happen, because this season, in my opinion, is far superior to last season in terms of the characters, the everything. I just think it's been a great season, but here we are. We're about to have this thing in it where the rules are going to change. I couldn't help forget that Danny was this NFL player, this Goliath, and now we have this guy literally called Thor, Goliath this year, who's killing challenges. And I can just see him winning this challenge and then having it taken away from him. And I think that's really gonna suck. Takes away a lot of the surprises. So I'm very nervous that the season that I've enjoyed so much is about to go off the rails. I literally like every character. I have no idea how the season's going to go. They've done a lot better on the edit with social dynamics and things like that. Even the idols are in play and things like all those things that were trouble last season have come together this season. So I just wanted to call and say I really enjoy everyone's input, and I really hope after this time turner thing happens that the season isn't derailed, because I'm really enjoying it. Have a great year, and I'll be calling in soon. Take care.
Thanks, Brad. I think a lot of people have trepidation as we head towards another hourglass.
Yeah. Well, but then it'll be over after this episode. That's the nice part.
Yeah, one and done, right? Instead of stretching it over 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, without just leaving anything hanging and no vote off. That's what they did last season. An episode with no vote off. It's like, wait a minute. That's not supposed to happen. We don't get any points for that.
Not even very monster-like. Yes. That's just boring. I agree with Brad. If Jonathan does get a chance, then whatever team he ends up on is very likely the one to push that big ball through. Now, they have to get up there and, solve a puzzle after that. But he will probably give them such a lead with his hands are like shovels. So he's going to be digging that thing out and then pushing it around like it was nothing.
The puzzle was Merge Feast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like kind of a little take on a slider puzzle where you had vertical channels to store the letters in as you moved them around. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Now, there's also the chance that he could be one of the two people that draw the gray rocks, because that's a random draw, and then he's not in it at all.
Oh, wow.
And then they have to decide if they're going to exile him or if they're going to include him in the victory feast. That
could happen.
That could be a different twist, and certainly would take away a little bit of what he had to offer his team, whoever they were.
Yeah, because what they did is they had 5 yellow, 5 blue, or whatever color they were, and 2 gray.
Right.
And those two didn't play, and the winning tribe chose who went somewhere else and who joined them. Mm-hmm. So I expect it to play out just like that. But still, I'm excited to see how it does play out.
Yeah, there we go. Could be some excitement. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. I hope you guys, as well as the SoCal fans, are all doing well. This episode I found was quite entertaining, quite well balanced. I'd like to start off with saying how much I dislike Tori. I think she's a narcissist. I think she's mean. I think she's really rude. Yeah, it's quite obvious they can't see her gestures, but she's just a really, really unpleasant person. And I don't usually say that to anyone, but yeah, really dislike her. My girlfriend, she only just started getting into the game. This is her first season watching it, and she hates her and cannot wait for her to leave. And I wonder if it takes a therapist to understand your own traits. I wonder if she's ever done that introspective check on herself and said, what's wrong with me? Before I label other people, but hey, you can't stop that, can you? Marianne is getting really on my nerves as well, but for a different reason. Obviously, she's just... I just feel like she's too immature for the game. I feel like we're seeing a lot of the younger players and the older players that have left. They've been weeded out, and this group of players heading into the merge are just more all-rounded compared to last season. Last season, we saw a bit of a mix. It wasn't a really good blend, and there weren't really good players, I felt, compared to this season, where I think we've got really, really good blend of players coming into this merge. I think we've got to look out for General High, as Stacey puts it. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait to make him my number 1 going into JSFL. I don't know what's going on in JSFL, to be honest. I've probably lost my number 1, so we'll see. But yeah, this is going to be a really, really interesting season now. I think we've got some really good players. One thing that I'm not sure about, and I didn't know about this rule until you guys talked about it and until it was spoken about in the episode, the fact that Mike using that evidence and wanting to keep his information, I didn't know that that power would be activated at the merge. So if he actually knew that from the very start and he's been using that, why didn't he just take it to the very end? We were literally at the merge. Is it the case that the players don't really know when that merge is going to happen? Because surely you've watched Survivor that long that you kind of can predict how long you're going to keep it for. I think he just panicked. And now that everyone knows everything, I just feel like idols have become a novelty again. I don't think these little tricks are going to work. We saw it in season 41, how much of an ill effect they had. And I just fear that because everyone has knowledge of everyone else's idols, they're not going to be played, or they're not going to have any effect. But we'll see. I'm really keen to hear everyone's thoughts on this. Thank you very much. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Shahin. Imagine being in the game and you haven't had a vote for half of the time you've been in the game. I think that was considerable pressure weighing on Mike, that need to have a vote so that you could be a clear part of being able to direct the outcome on the off chance that you were going to go to tribal council.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's probably what it was. Next up, we got an email from Ed in Milwaukee. Joanne and Stacey, I have not missed an episode of your show since I discovered it during Survivor Gabon, but this is my first contribution to listener feedback this season, and I have several observations.
All right.
Marianne always gives an expression of shock when she sees who another tribe has voted out of the game. Is there anyone whose vote out would not shock her? I'm going to say Daniel. We'll see. Will she be shocked if she gets voted out? Oh, absolutely. I credit all of those who have found the Beware Advantage idol for finding a way of turning a silly phrase into quasi-logical text. Marianne was able to do this 3 times, and if other people did not know about the Advantage idol, they would have treated Marianne's statement as typical Marianne. The fact that almost everyone knows about the Advantage idol and who has it makes the deceptiveness of oration of the phrases meaningless. We now know that we were deceived about Tori having the Advantage idol, but even though she does not have it, we did know that she would not be voted out last week. There was a lot of discussion about Daniel not participating in challenges, yet he was out there snorkeling. Daniel did say in his exit interview with Rob C. that the doctors told him to stay out of challenges. There we go. But I wonder how he would have competed in individual challenges. Maybe it was a good thing that he was voted out this week. So far this season, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out Chanel's strategy. 2 weeks ago, I could not figure out why she chose to risk her vote on a day that she was going to tribal, and this week I can't figure out why she voted for Mike. For 2 seasons now, we've had the Beware Advantage idol, and everyone who's found it has chosen to take it. Based on the clues that have been given, I get the impression that the contestants had no idea as to what the potential risks are. I wonder how many players would have taken the idol if they knew there was a chance they may lose their vote and to potentially lose their vote for several tribals. Is an idol an advantage if you lose your vote and everybody knows that you have it? I'm curious to see if they bring this back next season, and if so, how they will play it. I like the shot in the dark, and I think that eventually someone will benefit from it. The consensus is that the hourglass turn-back time advantage will return in some form. I despise the total concept, but if it does come back, I hope they remove the biggest flaw, that being Jeff lying about a tribe being granted immunity. It is okay for Jeff to deceive, like the fake merge in Survivor Thailand, but it's not fair for the host to lie. I hope that Danny and the cast were able to convince him of this. Yeah, that could be something we get some clarity on, as long as he doesn't promise immunity right out the gate. So we'll definitely be watching for that. How does he frame it? How does he present it this time? For 2 seasons in a row, I'm having a tough time remembering what idols and advantages are out there and who has them. I have totally forgotten about the so-called advantage that was awarded to 3 players on week 1.
Paul's roster will tell you.
Yeah, you just got to check out the roster, man. He's got it squared away. This season, like last season, I am amazed at the inability of the players to keep secrets to themselves about idols and advantages. A key to success in this game is, to quote the late Rudy Bosch, to keep your yap shut. Absolutely. Thanks, Ed. That was a good call back there on Rudy. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. Look at me. I am calling in on Thursday. It is Thursday, right? I just swear my work schedule changed, and now I have Fridays off. So anyway, I feel like it's Friday, but it's Thursday. And I just watched the episode. I just listened to your recap. It was great. Another good episode, I thought. I feel like something about the handling of the gimmicks this season is a little bit, maybe I'm just kind of desensitized to them because they were so loud and flashy last season, but something about how it's presented this season is working a lot better for me. And it could be the cast, because I like this cast a lot. I just feel like I'm much more in tune with what is happening this season and with this gameplay. Not to mention my JSFL score is reflecting that. I mean, what can I say? Another full points week. I mean, so I can say thank you to everyone who suggested Daniel, because I might not have picked him. The other thing is I had Chanel safe, so I didn't even think that was a very bold move. I just thought that was kind of like, she's going to go eventually, but I better get a couple points on her while I can. But yeah, so I was kind of sweating for a minute. I kept thinking it was going to be Daniel for sure until I started to see those Chanel votes, and then the tie, of course. But anyway, yeah, it was an exciting episode. I think that Jonathan is winning in the Jonathan versus Marianne conflict. It's funny, I'm going to give Marianne the loser of the week for the same reason I gave her winner of the week the first week, I think, which is that she's super enthusiastic and whatever. Because like I said, I think in week 1, that could get old really, really old really fast. And I think it obviously is not just for Jonathan. I just think he's kind of the mouthpiece for that sentiment that I'm sure is going around and will go around as soon as they merge. Yeah, I think Jonathan is the man, so I'm stoked to see what he does next. I really hope he doesn't get targeted like hardcore early on when they come together, but I'll give him the winner of the week too, just because I think he's cool. So, the other thing, Daniel, I want to give him loser of the week because who goes into a challenge? Okay, here's a pro tip. Never on Survivor say the words, I have very little value to offer. Just never say those words in front of a challenge, at camp, at tribal council. Just don't say, I have no value. Do not say that. Like, Daniel, what are you thinking? It's almost like yes, right. And I'm just saying, every time I look at him, I see Chandler from Friends. So that's what I'm saying. All right, everyone, have a great Thursday and a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. My thoughts are all over the place, but I'm determined to get this into you today, which is Thursday, rather than wait the way I did last week, and then it was too late to send it in. I want to say I'm glad that they're using the same Shipwell Island and Beware advantages in back-to-back seasons because it shows you how contestants can play them differently. Last season, Shot in the Dark was only played once. This season, several times. And even though it turned up not safe each time, I'm wondering if it's foreshadowing that somebody will play it and be safe at a tribal council. But with potato skins, bunny rabbits, and soccer, I'm so confused. When I watched the first episode and then replayed it, that was when I caught what I thought was Corey reading the Beware advantage. And I thought I was pretty clever in catching that because no one else that I knew that was watching Survivor saw it. But for me, it sucked the suspense out of at least one tribal council, the one when Swati went home. Well, now we find out that didn't matter because Tori's not the one who found the potato advantage. Also, before the season began, I read all the bios of the contestants, and I thought I read that Hai wanted to work with strong, independent women, which later confused me because he chose to work with Lydia over the much stronger and independent Jenny. Well, now I find out that that was Romeo. And then there's Chanel, who I have no idea how she's playing this game. She risked her vote on Shipwell Island, and because of that, she lost a vote, and Omer lost a vote, and it was partially the cause of Daniel's meltdown and final demise. And now, in the final tribal council, she votes for not Daniel, but Mike. The only thing I can figure out is that she was concerned that he would use his shot in the dark successfully and she would go home, so she thought this may block it. So where do we go from here? I don't think next week is the merge. I think, like last season, they'll split the tribe into two teams. The winning tribe will send somebody off to Shipwell Island, and then on the island, will Jeff use the turn back time hourglass to punish a winning team, or will it be used in another way? I like the fact that there are 4 people on tribes right now, and half men and half women. I also can't believe that after next week, we'll be at the halfway mark in the game. I'm looking forward to seeing how the game plays out. I'm really enjoying this season.
Thanks, David. Yeah, we do get Chanel attempting to explain why she voted the way she did, but Mike is so agitated by it that she doesn't finish whatever it was she was going to say. I do believe it was if they had put all their votes on Daniel and he pulled off a shot in the dark.
Yeah, Mike's never going to trust her again. So
yeah, and nor
That's
should
what he
he.
said.
Why would anyone? Given that she threw her vote away, and then Daniel did mention that in the exit interviews that was it. That was where he really made the mistake. He said the big mistake wasn't in how he handled the game of chicken to go to rocks with Hai. It was that he didn't immediately flip on Chanel when she said, "I think I lost my vote."
Well, if he thinks that's his only mistakes, then
No, he didn't say only. He said that was the pivotal part that he where his game went south. She should have pushed away from that alliance with Chanel right there when she got back and was talking about risking her vote when they had agreed together prior to the challenge that they would not do that. Just tells you right there that she was unreliable. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. Not a very eventful episode, but I wanted to get one in this week since I forgot to record the past couple weeks. It's my fault, but life's been busy, of course. One thing I wanted to say was it really felt like Vadi's minds were already made up by the beginning of the episode, if not episodes ago, after the Jenny implosion at Tribal with Daniel. I mean, they really just don't have a good opinion of him, because when I saw him getting fish, even though he wasn't very successful in it, they were just sitting back and mocking him instead of like, oh, maybe he'll get him some fish. They were sitting there like, oh, what a fool, what a liar, he's out there swimming. I mean, he's clearly fine. It just kind of told me that they were all kind of done with him at that point. The secret password reading was so awkward at the challenge, and hopefully we will not see it again. I don't see how they could bring it back after this season unless they already filmed more before 41 came out, because now that the audience has seen it, they'll be listening in at challenges for weird stuff like that. And we'll definitely get some quirky twists in the future where you got to say something or do something covert, but I don't think we'll see this one return, and I'm not too upset about it. So the tribe of Ika, I wanted to analyze them a little bit. I do not like Tori. I think she's mean, she's kind of self-centered, she thinks she has these mind-reading abilities almost, which was more evident in last week's episode than this week's, but she's not coming off very well in my eyes. Romeo seems really good and powerful. I think he could get far. His social game's clearly good, and he seems physical enough to get through a lot of those standstill, like hang in there challenges when it comes to the merge, of course. Roxroy, he seems pretty harmless to me. The edit wanted us to think he was like a drill sergeant, which he may be really naturally bossy around camp. I mean, he's a stay-at-home dad. I mean, bossing around might just be his day-to-day life. But from the game perspective, I could see him making Final 6. I don't think he'll go all the way, but he seems not like a liability at all, of course. Kind of like Heather last season, maybe. He could go pretty far. Drea seems like someone I'd be really cool with in real life, but watching her play the game, she's a little too deceitful for my taste, but I won't judge her character so much, because like I said, she is cool, I can tell. I wouldn't want to play Survivor with her if she played the way with me that she plays this way. JSFL this week, I had Jonathan and Lindsay and Mike and Roxroy safe, and I got my first vote out point in Daniel. I guess it's kind of a bummer I didn't do the side challenge this year, but it's no big deal, of course. I was a little bit too much of a commitment for me anyway, but I haven't lost any safe points yet coming this far. This is my first vote off, but not bad compared to prior seasons. I normally always miss like 2 safe points before the merge, if at least 1, of course. That's about all I got. Joanne and Stacy, thank you guys so much. Survivor fans, I'll listen to y'all and see you next week.
Thanks, Cameron. There's a great extra video for Roxroy where he goes out spearfishing and ends up getting an octopus, and that feeds the tribe. Now, it was like the day before the challenge, but it seems like it might have had an impact.
And they won after that.
Yep. So, unfortunately, it was just in an extra video. It was not anything that I guess was central to his story, but he was doing some positive things. And
That's true.
Drea's laugh would just her laugh, the sound
drives you nuts.
Yeah, that would be tough. It's different. It just seems so odd, and it strikes me out of place. And a couple people mentioned Tori, and it's coming across like she's mean. You remember in her own bio, it said that she often gets accused of being a mean girl.
Yes, I do.
So on some level, she's aware of that perception.
But she thinks they're wrong.
Yes. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. One word for Marianne and Tori is drama. But I must admit, I enjoy watching them both and seeing their eyes roll. Did Daniel like his torch getting snuffed out to complete his Survivor resume as much as Jeff likes analogies?
It did appear so, didn't it?
Some people are more there for the experience than winning the game.
Yeah.
Not sad to see Struck the Skunk be voted out, but I will miss hearing Stacy call him that. Is Lydia the next secret winner like Erica last season? Erica experienced a similar coming-of-age experience and played under the radar. The edit made Lydia look really good this week and shows that she is playing the game with high and is a part of major decision-making. What do you guys think? I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is she's not really featured. She's
not yet.
She's more of a silent partner in that power duo. So, yeah, she doesn't. There's nothing that's happened yet where it feels like she's got agency, and it doesn't help that it looks like she's about to fall asleep most of the time when they're talking to her.
Okay. Next time on Survivor, did the producers tell them to ask, does this mean merge? So that Jeff can respond with, not exactly. Because I feel like the same thing happened last season, and that part felt a little scripted. Hopefully he won't take the win away from the challenge winners like he did last season. That was odd. Power players to look out for come merge, in my opinion, are Drea, Romeo, Hai, and Lydia. The four of them could run the game. Should be interesting, and I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. All right, thanks, Erin.
Yeah, I think Erin really hit on the core of the excitement I have for the next episode, which is how are all these folks going to sort themselves out for a tribal council vote when they come together? That's one of the most interesting things. Are we going to see alliances? Is there going to be a strong alliance, a lot of strategic gameplay? Or how are they going to gather the power? That's what I'm looking for. I'm with Erin on that. Next up, we got a call from Sophie.
Hi, John and Stacey. This is Sophie in Texas. My first time calling this season. I've really enjoyed everybody's comments and opinions so far. I got my first point for Daniel. Yay, I can't believe it. I was doing terribly. But I was sad because the first episode, seeing his story and the leukemia picture of him just reminded me of my nephew who passed away of cancer about 5 years ago now when he was 14. And it looked just like him. So I was in tears watching that first episode. It's been a really, really good season so far. I've liked it a lot better. I just cannot get my head around why did Chanel vote for Mike? Was she told to vote that way in case Chanel and Daniel flipped at the last minute and decided to use the roll in the dark dice? Or were they just testing her loyalty? Was she told to vote that way? Was she supposed to vote with Mike and Daniel? Were they supposed to both choose Mike? And then Daniel changed at the last minute? I don't know. It was just, I thought that it was Lydia and Hai who had done that. So I was surprised, but I just can't stop thinking about it. Please help. I just love Jonathan's humility, how humble he's coming across, and my son and my husband are going to start going to the gym now. So that's a good thing. Yay. Who else? I didn't really see many interviews before it started. I was going to choose Zach just by the way he looked. I'm glad I didn't. I was then going to choose Chanel just because I thought, yay, she looks like a tough girl. But she comes off as really, really serious. She doesn't really smile when she talks. She looks pretty scary, so I'm glad I didn't choose her. I decided to choose Tori because of the therapy thing. I was a therapist, and I don't know, I just felt like she was completely different in the interviews before the show. However, she's still there. I do not think that she was playing to the camera, rolling her eyes and talking quietly. I do that a lot. When people annoy me, instead of just lashing out and telling them that I disagree with them, I will just turn around and roll my eyes and in my mind, or just mouth, you're crazy. So I think that that's just her personality trait. I don't know, that's about it really. It's been really fun to see everybody. There's nobody who I really want out. I like Omar a lot. I really like Romeo, and Hai is quite strategic. So yeah, it's been a really good time. It's been fun watching it with the family, and I've loved hearing everybody. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Sophie. Great to hear from you again. The thing with Daniel going out and swimming, she made me think of it because she mentioned the leukemia picture of Daniel. Daniel said that he had this great heart-to-heart moment with Hai just before he did that, where he had talked to Hai about how important it was to him to represent the sick kids, because he remembered what it was like not having energy, not having any strength to do anything, and watching the castaways on Survivor and doing all the incredible things they were doing. And now he was here and able to do that. And he said they hugged, and he felt like he had this really solid bonding moment, and he felt that he was safe, that Hai had his back, and that was another reason why he was okay to go out. and do the snorkeling and spend some time out there with that.
Well, he misread the room again.
Yes, this is the theme, obviously, with Daniel.
I was not okay and was actually the one, most pointing it out to everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Did not hesitate. Yeah, I think Daniel believes that Hi did him dirty, for sure. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's Chris from Minneapolis calling. A couple thoughts. First of all, I found it really interesting how they've kind of gone in, taken a deep dive into what's it like to survive at camp. I'm wondering how many times Jonathan is playing for $1 million, playing for $1 million, playing for $1 million every time. The people around his camp were annoying him, which, given Marianne, that was probably quite a bit, but it just shows what it takes to actually get along with other people and how important that is, I think, to win the game. The other thing is I just think the impact on the game of the wheel, I think, is kind of fascinating. The poor decision that Chanel made a few episodes back versus the logical decision that Lydia made in the past episode just shows that the game was altered. I think Lydia and Hai could both win this game, but only because Chanel made that poor choice, and that knocked, obviously, Chanel and the skunk, put them in a bad spot. So I do think that that's an interesting dynamic that wheel has thrown into the game. And I guess the last thing, heading into the next episode, I just think back to last season and just how irritated Danny was with Jeff Probst and with the decision that Erica was given to flip the game. And hopefully they've learned from last season. I will be disappointed if they do that again. I guess we'll see. It certainly looks like it might be heading that way, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm certainly not sorry to see the skunk go. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Chris. Next up, we got a quick call from Erin.
I've been waiting for someone to say this, and I'm surprised no one. I can't be the only one. Every time I hear Roxroy, I hear it in a Scooby-Doo voice. And Stacy, I think an auto activation clue should be, what if Stacy's mom was Jesse's girl, and her number was 8675309? That'd be perfect. It's Aaron from SoCal. See you guys later.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for checking in with that. That was good. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque with my feedback. I haven't been able to listen to the recap podcast yet, so hopefully I won't be repeating too much that was already covered. First off, I owe you an apology, Stacy, because you've been saying that whoever was reading the line about the potato wasn't Tori, and I was thinking, why would they be showing Tori reading a paper if that's not her voice? That doesn't make sense. And you were right, and I was wrong. So I'm actually glad that it turned out that wasn't a spoiler after all. But I think it would have been nice to know it wasn't a spoiler so that we were able to participate in the suspense the last two tribal challenges that Ika went to. But on the other hand, I'm the person who always forgets about that Tori bit in the commercial, and so I never remembered anyway that they had supposedly spoiled that she wasn't going home. So I was wrapped up in the suspense. In fact, I've been putting Tori as the vote out for every single week, and I'm going to continue doing so, just so I'm not going to win this year. So it's a good thing I'm not doing the side challenge. I don't know how to record a song the way you guys do anyway, so that's why I never enter. Maybe one day I'll look into it and see if I can figure it out. I also wanted to say that I really appreciated Lydia's comments regarding body image issues, because I was a young woman once and I'm now raising a young woman, and the struggle is real. And I'll just say that when I was Lydia's age, the young women on Survivor all looked like supermodels, and that did not help. So I really like that they're casting people based on their personalities now, and not so much based on their appeal to the male gaze. And vice versa, I'll say that for sure. I think Lydia did the right thing protecting her vote because she had the numbers, but she might not have if she had lost her vote. And it sounded like Roxroy really didn't give her a good, strong indication what he was going to do. So as far as choosing between Daniel and Chanel, I don't know what I would have done. What would you guys have done? On the one hand, Daniel's inability to display any social skills would lead me to keep him over Chanel. On the other hand, he can't help win challenges, but we all saw the preview, but when I wrote this note, I was thinking, it's going to be the merge soon anyway, so maybe it's a good thing he can't win any challenges due to his shoulder. I might be thinking, I can always get him out later, but that would have been a really tough decision for me. My USB Drea is killing it. I hope she doesn't get overconfident with all of her Survivor riches And I like that she's working with Romeo because he was in my top 4 also from the Javik show. Let's see. I like Mike. That joke about him being 117, 116, that was so funny. That kind of reminded me of Evie's later days comment from last season. Who knew I was so funny? I like that Mike doesn't know what a Stan account is on Twitter. He's like, who's Stan? My name is Mike. He's so funny. And finally, I really was hoping to see both Daniel and Chanel play their shots in the dark. I think that would have been really cool, and I kind of wish it had turned out that way. Thanks so much for this show, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thanks, Noelle.
I hate to say it, but I didn't know Stan either.
Yeah, you weren't familiar with that term, a Stan account?
Yep. Mm-mm.
The stalker fan kind of deal where someone basically commits an account to celebrating someone they're enjoying, in favor of, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Going overboard on it.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that's generally credited with an old Eminem song. So, where he references a guy named Stan. So, what about Noelle's question? Who would you have chosen, Chanel or Daniel, and why?
To go home?
Yeah.
Totally Daniel.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't contribute anything, really. He doesn't compete in challenges, and he's injured, and he loses things all the time.
Let me reframe it for you. You're going into the merge. Does
No
that still matter?
difference.
No?
Yeah, no, because I wouldn't trust Daniel any further than I could see him.
Wouldn't you kind of think the similar thing about Chanel?
Yes, but at least she could contribute in challenges. And
For a reward. You're
see,
talking about the benefit as a reward.
Yes.
Come
and
merge.
I do not see him as any more trustworthy than her.
Definitely not. They both went far on the shady scale. I probably would have chosen to keep Chanel also in hopes that she could help make connections. Because it's 444, you need some social game to build the majority alliance out of the 12.
And that makes her less dangerous, don't you think? Daniel was more manipulative.
More valuable. Yep, Daniel was completely ineffective on like every scale from what we were given. So he just didn't offer anything in that regard.
Well, that's why I already wanted Daniel out. I thought he's just taking up space. He's not doing anything. And I really thought he'd already been burned in the game. Nobody's really going to trust you. So that's why I wouldn't hesitate. I just wanted him out. That's why I voted.
Plus, I think you always need to have someone in mind, even in your alliance. There will come a time when you may have to give up someone that's in your alliance to help get to the next step after this one. So you may need to be willing to sacrifice one of your own at some point. And I think Chanel offered some social connection capability because people do think she's good at the social part of the game. Not good at thinking strategically, obviously, even what's in her best interest. She seems to self-sabotage quite a bit, and she panics.
Yeah, she's not playing the game that I thought she could play, preseason, because I put her in my Final Four. So that's disappointing, but the game's not over yet, so you don't know what she'll do.
Yeah, we're about to hit the reset button when everybody comes together. You could have all new alliances form that weren't apparent previously, and you could be unlucky when it's 4-4-4 like that. You could have two people from your tribe, your alliance, end up with Grey Rocks, and now, that's going to hurt you. So you're going to be down one at all the critical first meetings and negotiating, things like that. Good question. Thanks, Noelle. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, the initial 3-tribe phase is almost done. On to the not exactly merge and its feastish meal. Here are my other observations. Tori did her best Chevy Chase imitation, making faces while Roxroy spoke. Oh, that's a good callback. Jonathan requested noise-canceling headphones as his luxury item, but it was denied. Yeah, wow, what a treasure that would be out there with them. Marianne and Lindsay's warmer, hot game left Jonathan cold. To paraphrase the tagline of Alien, underwater, no one can hear Marianne babble. Yeah, Jonathan talking about having to be less threatening because he's big struck a chord. Marianne deserves a Darwin Award for walking by Jonathan as he swung the machete, no doubt. Daniel is transparent. Chanel is opaque. So he's a window and she's a door? I wanted Drea to have the Beware idol. It's like he watched season 41. Spearfishing score, fish 50, Daniel 0. Romeo likes strong independent women. He might lose to one at the final tribal. If there's a bench at Ponderosa, Daniel is probably sitting on it. Keeping it warm, yeah. Mike's pants must be on fire for activating his idol after he swore he wouldn't. So hidden idols literally grow on trees now. In plain sight, yeah, that idol that Drea found, the Beware Advantage rather, it was way, way obvious. And you know, it was right off the trail, too. So it had just been planted that day at that location. There's no way it was sitting there for any amount of time.
I didn't think so either. It's like they're not going to find it any other way. We're going to make it obvious for somebody to find it.
Nasir's was similar to that, but it wasn't off the trail. It was in a tree down off the beach.
Down off the beach.
Yeah.
But still in a tree.
It was similarly visible, but I don't know that it was it wasn't like it was by a trail.
And he found it last too, their tribe.
Yep, roughly the same time. Newsflash, Mike really likes soccer. He should. It gave him his vote and an idol. Never mind spearfishing, Daniel handed the heavy idol to Jeff with his bad shoulder. I've used a giant slingshot. I'm not surprised shooters fell down after launch. Okay. Jeff says he isn't used to being called Mr. Jeff. Did he change his pronouns? You had to go there, huh? Lydia says she's becoming comfortable in her own skin. Is she a potato? If Jeff ever wants someone else to do previously on Survivor, Hi has my vote. Wonder Triplets idols activate. Strunk the skunk is in a funk. His shoulders junk and his game is sunk. Beautiful. Beautiful poetry. The poor bunny can finally leave that cramped mailbox and eat in peace. Daniel says Muhammad Ali only punched boxers. Does Daniel only debate lawyers? The merge looms. Will Omer's lost vote affect who goes home first post-merge? Definitely going to be weighing heavy on him, isn't it? He's not going to have any value. Marianne perfected her surprised face by watching Eddie Murphy as Mr. Robinson. Oh, that's true. That's good. That would be a good side-by-side. Daniel says getting his torch snuffed is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I agree. I don't think he's getting ass-packed either. Next time Schrodinger's merge, will Jeff break the space-time continuum again? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Joanna and Stacy. It's Jade
and Christine
from Hawaii.
Aloha.
So, Mom, what did you think of the episode?
It was great just because it's Survivor, but I was kind of impressed with Roxroy, the way he handled being out of the loop. That first scene, he said, "Well, good play, you guys," and that's always a smart thing.
Yeah.
And I did happen to catch that extra video where he caught the taco, the octopus.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, and I hope everyone appreciated that.
Yeah, and he's doing stuff around camp, right?
Yeah.
He's helping with the fire.
True.
But Tori still hates him.
Yes.
No idea why at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm personally getting a little bit annoyed with Marianne. Actually, no, a lot annoyed with Marianne because I was a little annoyed last week, and I continue to tire of her drama. But I was actually impressed with how Jonathan was talking about the way people perceive him, because I think a lot of people don't realize how they're perceived, and they kind of get offended when people perceive them in a certain way that they say something like, that wasn't my intention. But I think Jonathan understands that intention and perception are equal, and in Survivor I think perception is more important than your intention. It doesn't matter what you intended, it matters what people think of you. So kudos to Jonathan. I thought he did a good job.
He's really using that self-control that he's learned through his physical training is also coming in handy there. Yeah.
Too bad he didn't do the key part of the challenge.
I know.
What's up with your boy? What's up with Omar?
So sad. He's just killing me. And I kept shouting, "What is wrong with you, Omar?" Maybe he didn't have enough sleep or something. For a moment there, I thought, is he throwing the challenge?
It's just so bad.
It was so bad. And, maybe because Jeff kept saying it over and over. Well, Omar's still out of it. He's still struggling.
So painful.
Really behind. Yeah, it was very painful.
And then we get to the vote out, and Chanel randomly votes out Mike, or tries to vote out Mike. I'm very confused about this.
Yes, we were really scratching our heads over this one. Mike, why? Why did she put that down? And one of my coworkers had a theory. She thought it was because Mike blabbed about, he went ahead and said the phrase, the idol phrase, so his idol was charged up. So now, not only did he have his vote, he also has an idol. So I don't know, in her mind, was it a spite vote? Was she angry and she wanted to punish him? Or did somebody tell her, hey, we're voting for Mike? I'm not sure.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
But next week, I'm not excited about the hourglass. I only like the hourglass because of Erica, who's my USB, and now I don't like it. But I don't know. I just don't think, because they're taking away the element of surprise, I don't think it's going to be as exciting an episode. But we'll see.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to 2 hours, though. Let's do something special.
2 hours of Survivor. It's going to be great. Looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Looking forward to the 2 hours already. Thank you, Jade-n-Christine. Next up, got a call from Jeremiah.
We've been bamboozled, everyone. Hello, it's Jeremiah here with some feedback for this week. Yes, I guess we all got a little bamboozled from the editors and producers of this show with that whole preview that wind up being not what we thought it was going to be. I think at this point now, you guys, I am convinced that all of this is just very clever editing in their preview there. I don't even think that Tori finds anything at this point. I think she's probably just looking down at whatever. Who knows what she's looking at. So I'm pretty much convinced of that, this is just, whole thing was just a ruse to get us all flustered and everything. And to be fair, there was a few people I know out there that floated around the idea that it did not sound like Tori's voice and that we were being, tricked. But kudos to those people because they figured it out, and obviously we did not. So yeah, pretty much a predictable week as far as who went home. Daniel is just the kind of player who I don't think would ever really be good at the game of Survivor. But I will say he's entertaining, that's for sure. So for me personally, there wasn't too much more that I really got from this episode. Obviously, the Ika tribe might be regretting keeping Tori, by the way. I do think that she's probably not one to be trusted. And considering things are going to get all messed up starting next week, I hope for their sake they don't regret that. So I do like what they're doing next week. Just make a big 2-hour episode so that way when we do this whole fake merge thing, we won't have one episode where someone doesn't go home. I like this a lot better. And I think maybe that's the reason why we're getting a shortened season is because, remember, last year they broke this up into 2 episodes. So that kind of makes a lot of sense on that aspect. As far as what's going to happen with it, who knows? I don't know how they're going to handle the hourglass thing, provided that is coming back. So clearly, half of them will probably be safe, the other half will not. And that's going to make it almost impossible for us to probably figure out what's going to happen in JSFL. So I'll probably just get myself a dartboard, put all the names up there, throw a dart, and whoever hits on, I guess that will be the person who's going to go home, because there's a couple of targets you could say that could be very well in the mix of someone like Jonathan or something like that. But honestly, who knows what's going to happen. So I can't wait to watch it, of course. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be exciting. And that's pretty much it for me. You guys take care. And until next time, it's just Jeremiah from Southern California.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Well, I finally got my first vote-off point of the season.
Yay!
Me and a whole slew of other fans. So that was good. I'm not sad to see Daniel go. He couldn't get out of his own way. And I think, did I hear you say that he said before the season started that he was not going to win the game? I don't know. I didn't watch or look at any of the press beforehand, but that's disappointing to find out Each and every spot on a Survivor tribe is so important, and it should be filled by people who absolutely believe that they can and will win the game. That was just a little bit disappointing to me. So next week we're coming to the merge, and please, Survivor Universe gods, please do not bring back that hourglass thing. I was enthusiastic about it last season when it happened, but it's over. It's done. I don't need to see that again. But didn't we have an odd number of players at this point at the merge last season?
Nope.
Right now we have an even number. So I'm hoping that because we have an even number that we're not going to see the hourglass, that they'll just kind of merge and do their little like half of you are safe and half of you are not thing and just leave it at that. I'm going to cross my fingers for that. I think that it's entirely possible that we're going to see several idols and advantages played at this merge tribal council. I think that there are going to be a lot of people who are shaking things up at the merge. Tori, Chanel, Marianne, Roxroy needs to find a home. Now, how do I feel about the castaways at this midpoint of the season? Let me think. On the Ika tribe, Drea is playing a solid game. I haven't seen so much of her until this last episode, but she's doing well. Roxroy's on the bottom. He's not having a great game. Romeo is playing well. I really like his strategy and how he's kind of setting himself up within the framework of the game. Tori, I cannot stand Tori. I think they're setting her up to be the villain of the season. On Taku, I absolutely love Jonathan. I love his spirit, his attitude, his personality. I think he's great. Lindsay's good. She was my first vote-off pick, but I certainly don't think that way anymore. But she's just there. I don't feel like we're really getting to see much of her. I know that she's Jonathan's right-hand woman and all, but I feel like I don't know her still. Marianne, oh, God bless Marianne. She would be a bit much for me to handle if I was out there. She's wearing her heart on her sleeve a little bit too much for my taste. I like Omar, but I feel a little bit like Lindsay. Like, I know he's there, but I feel like I just don't quite know him so well. He has no vote. So, that's not good for the merge. He's going to have to hide that and hope for the best. From Vati, I'm not a big fan of Chanel. I couldn't tell you why. I just feel like there are other personalities I like a little bit better. I like Hai. I think he's playing a real good game. I think he's smart. I think he's alert. Lydia has surprised me. When she came out here on the first episode, I really thought that she was going to be just naive and not really ready for it. Who was playing the best? Romeo and Hai. They're playing the best. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. Till next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen.
Sorry, Jen. Same number of people.
Yeah, came in with 12, 2 picked gray, so that leaves 2 teams of 5 to compete in the challenge. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here with a 5-point week. I'm still at the bottom of the list after a stunning string of 3-point weeks, but, well, maybe the tide is turning for me. So how about that Daniel? I've read that he isn't watching the season now, and that just makes me doubt the man's abilities even more because, I don't know. To me, it's like having a lawyer saying that they don't want to see the evidence because it's so damaging. I think Daniel may regret being on Survivor for a long, long time. I feel sort of bad saying it, but I really am glad to see him go. In the end, I feel he's a shifty kind of guy, but enough about that. Now, I was honestly shocked that Mike said his phrase, especially after mansplaining the reason behind his silence at the challenges, and then he just turned around and opened the cookie jar. Everyone is going to know about those 3 idols quicker than he thinks. Mike should have kept it a secret. Now, if he lost the challenge and felt he needed immunity in a vote, he probably could have just said the phrase before the tribes were dismissed after the challenge, which would have then activated the idol. I mean, it would have been spoken at the challenge, right? You gotta love those loopholes. Now, Lydia has gained some respect from me because as sure as I was that she was going to risk her vote, she didn't. As I always say, just because you can rarely means you should, so good on her. And Drea, wow, that woman does have all the gifts. I run hot and cold with her, but she's currently hot with me, and I'm hoping that as we see more of her, I'll be able to root more for her. I still can't get a beat on her, though, but I really did want to like her right from the get-go, so I'm hoping. Now, it looks like we have some sort of a mix-up next week, and I'm thinking they'll go down to 2 tribes. 2 hours probably means 2 vote-offs, but who knows what'll happen. I guess we're all going to be rolling the dice here, and to be honest, I can't decide whether I should pick everyone who has an idol as safe, or if I should just choose all the weaker players. Mostly, though, I'm worried about Jonathan. But he wins challenges by himself, and I'm hoping he'll just brute force himself deeper and deeper into the game. the minute he heads off to tribal, though. And I wonder what kind of a mess the next tribal will be. I mean, how many idols and advantages and whatnots will be used? It's going to be a hectic 2 hours for sure. And that brings me to the fact that I will be in Pennsylvania next week visiting Mom for Easter. I'm going to try to install everything I need to do the roster on her aging computer, but I don't know if it's going to happen considering all of the revamping that roster's going to need. It may very well not get done until the following Tuesday night when I get back home, so sorry about that. I'm also unsure of when I'll get to see the episode, so I may turn up missing in the next feedback. So perhaps I'll be watching the episode and then listening to all of you fine people while I'm in the air headed home. Well, at any rate, enjoy the 2-hour episode, be safe, and happy Easter. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Have a wonderful trip and enjoy your visit.
Yeah. So Omer has no vote, which means that group of 4 has added. Well,
Marianne
she's
has
got an
extra vote.
That's true. And he's maintained that relationship. So
if she's not still mad with Jonathan,
they might be. Well, the whole coming together thing's going to throw that stuff out. You're going to want to hunker down with the one you brought to the prom there. So those 4, I think, are going to stick together.
Well, Tori's already said she'd jump ship.
Right. So you've got that, and you can't tell what Chanel's going to do. If you just got to get her to panic, and she'll mess your plan up. So you got to keep her from panicking. You got to keep her close and make her feel connected in
Mike's
a central
still
part.
working on it to make her think he trusts her, but
it's really comes down to Hai and Lydia, I think, in terms
Yeah.
of them being able to assure her. But yeah, Tori's going to be a big wild card, throwing that Ica 4 potentially out the window. I'm not willing to totally give up on her not finding something. That looks so much like she's reading something, even though, yes, we were all wrong. It wasn't the Beware advantage, but we went back and watched these next 2 episodes in season 41 again because we were curious. We couldn't remember exactly how it all played out. And that reminded us of the knowledge is power advantage that Liana, another L name, picked up just beforehand, like at the ship wheel event that Lydia had in this 5th episode. That's when Liana got that one, I think, when her and Shan went to Shipwheel Island. So she's got this knowledge as power advantage, and that set off a huge dynamic. Well, we didn't get to see that because Lydia played it smart. Roxroy played it smart. So that one's not in the game yet. What if that's what Tori is actually looking at? And she ends up with this power to take someone's idol or their advantage.
and she's one of the few people that we talked about that we didn't think knew about it. Her and Roxroy, right?
Yeah, as being out of the loop, yes.
So she might not know who has one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Though surely somebody will yak.
Yeah, you got to think it's going to happen given how many people know about all those idols. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Hai and Lindsay and Drea get back together and start talking about what are they going to do.
Yeah, do they all want to get an extra vote for this next?
Yeah, because this next tribal council is huge.
It was an
It's gonna
extra
set the
vote
tone.
first, right? Then
yeah,
to
extra
steal a
vote. If only 2 are left, steal a vote. Only 1 left, it becomes a full idol.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, we don't have any idea how they're going to go about that. If they want to vote each other out, and
That's going to be a real test for Lindsay. I think you're really going to see Lindsay's game.
mm-hmm.
And in terms of how do they if they do reunite, I'm assuming they will get together and talk about it, but they may not. They may immediately target each other just based on that knowledge. It's going to be good. Even though there's going to be an hourglass, we're going to get through it in 1 2-hour block. Someone's going to go to exile. They're going to flip the script again, more than likely. Hopefully Probst doesn't overpromise, so he ends up lying to him.
Yeah, hopefully they tweak it a little.
It's all in how he delivers it.
But and it's unique because last time they didn't go in with even numbers at all. One tribe had 2 people. One had 6, I think, and one had 4.
Luvu had all their members, yeah.
Yeah, so they were very uneven tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And one was predominantly strong, and this time it's 4-4-4. I think that alone is going to make it more exciting.
Yeah, some really interesting dynamics are going to go down because of that. And there's 2 hours, there's time to really see people's social game.
Well, and a whole lot of scrambling.
Mm-hmm.
But
and if it's the same challenges, who do you think has the best chance to win? And we know the first challenge is the same, where they got to dig the balls up, the big giant balls, and roll them through.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, if they're doing the exact same challenge for that part, you figure they might do the exact same challenge for immunity.
Oh, you mean where they had to put stuff together with their feet?
Stack the blocks with their feet and then put the flag in. Who do you think may have that? Is there anyone who stands out that maybe has got a really good chance of pulling that off?
I was totally wrong last time, so anybody with a good core.
Lindsay has a fantastic core.
Yeah.
So she's got a good shot at that.
I would think Drea would.
Yeah.
And even Tori.
Possibly,
but
yeah. She could end up with immunity.
I don't know about Lydia.
Individual immunity. No, doesn't seem likely.
Mike's got strong-looking abs, but I don't know.
He's got something's wrong with his neck, right? You can tell by the way he carries himself.
That's why I think that might.
Like he's got some fused vertebra or something there. So that might.
Chanel would be, I would think, could do that.
Possibly.
Fine.
Not Jonathan. Not with those paddles for feet. I'm going to guess that even though he's super strong and has a great core, that those gigantic feet are going to be in the way. And he's just going to be knocking blocks, sweeping them off the platform. I could be wrong, but...
You could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
But we don't even know if they do it the same way, if everyone will be doing it or just so many.
The half that got the script flipped when the hourglass broke, yeah.
So for that, we have to wait and see, too.
Yeah, that's another thing where there's only 6 people you could choose from to vote for.
And you don't know which 6.
Yeah, you definitely don't.
This is going to be a really hard week.
Like Jeremiah said, you might as well start throwing at the dartboard there.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't think they've put any videos or pictures up yet that are spoiling any of that.
I don't want them to spoil it.
No. I want it to all be excitement and see it. Yeah, it's going to be really good. Given the ingredients that we had, this cast, and their ability to play the game strategically and to manage social connections, really looking forward to it. And the fact that we're going to get 2 hours is just excellent. We always love 2 hours.
Well, and one point to observe is that at the end of the second episode, which will be all one this time, they were all merged at the end.
They were officially merged.
The tribal council.
Yep, at the end of tribal council.
Yeah.
He hands them the rest of them their buffs.
So if that's the case, the merge should be official by the end of this next week's episode.
Yeah.
So.
Now, it could go differently. It could actually be a double elimination. We don't know. But so far, they've been tracking this season very similar to season 41. There's been some deviations.
And that's not the way it went down last season. That's why we're not even, just because it's 2 hours, we're not going there, because we don't have any indication that it is going to be 2 people eliminated. And there was another, we got it wrong. We were thinking it was down to 5 at 1 a week, but it wasn't.
We counted at the wrong point. We counted at the end of an episode versus the beginning.
Remember last season, after the whole merge, Evie and Nasir both went home in one episode.
There was a double, yeah.
In a 1 hour episode. So I expect that to happen again.
They got split and went off to different locations, and each had to vote someone out based on that challenge that they did in that case. They weren't together to do that. Those are 2 separate ones. So, yeah.
Yep. So that's how I think that's probably still going to go down. Is it'll be another episode where there should be a double elimination, but I don't think it's this week. So if it were a double elimination And if either of the two people you had chosen as your vote off, you would get a point for either of those people.
Yes. Okay.
What? I was just.
It's like a
highlighting
roundabout
it.
way to say that, but yeah.
I know, but I'm operating on very little sleep.
Yes.
So. Yeah, so
Didn't get
I'm
enough
not
rest.
all here mentally.
All right. Well, and I'm sure we could keep talking about it, but we'll go ahead and wrap up so you can get some rest. We want to say a big thanks to everybody who contributed to the show this week. Good job. Enjoyed hearing all that. And we also want to say a big, big thanks to David for your donation. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your continued support, and that helps with our operational cost.
And again, if you're playing JSFL, don't forget to make your week 6 picks and just do 1 vote off and 4 safe.
And if you'd like to join us in these listener feedback shows, you can see we had a great time again today. This is fun. It's going to get more exciting. You can call in and leave us a voicemail, 206-350-1547, toll free, 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio comment. I had several folks do that. Great job. Good audio quality. Or you can type it up and send it in an email and send it to joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range. Everybody did fantastic. We had lots of people even in on Thursday, as they mentioned this week.
Was awesome.
So I was able to get a little bit done along the way and didn't get overwhelmed on a Saturday morning. Deeply appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, anything else? I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Good to go. Looking forward to Wednesday. Have a good one.